discover liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews, your one-stop shop for in-depth commentary and discussion on this week's Star Wars comic. And there is a Star Wars comic this week.
Finally.
Praise the Force. It is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. It's the 6th week of comics in 2026. I'm Matthew, coming here from Underworld North Studios, and it's Chris coming to you from Underworld, New Jersey. Chris, how are you doing this week?
Yeah, it feels weird. Honestly, it feels weird to actually be talking about a new Star Wars comic. I almost lost hope for a couple weeks there.
Yeah, because it's interesting times, interesting days for multiple reasons. You know, democracy in question, comic books in question. The two are not equivalent, but you know, still interesting times. Felt like getting that in there. Yeah, we're here. We're here to talk about a comic book. We'll get into that in a bit. First off, you can follow us on Blue Sky at thetractorbeam.bisky.social. Check that out. That's the Tractor Beam. Search the Tractor Beam of Star Wars comics reviews is what it is. And for Twitter, Instagram, etc., check out at the SWU. They got a lot of good things going on there. Also, everything Chris is up to at Star Raptor, you can see down below, StarRapter. That's on Twitter and on YouTube. So go ahead and check those out. I got your recaps of this week's comics, or this week's comic, and next week's comic. We'll have the recap of next week's comic. We'll get to that in a bit. Also, go ahead and check out Chris's channel and on Twitter, and we'll pick up those plugs again at the end. Also, if you prefer audio, we are on Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcasts. So search the Tractor Beam Star Wars Comics Reviews there on your podcatcher of choice. And when we're done recording tonight, I will put this episode up on there as well. So yeah, check that out. If audio is more your speed. Yeah. Last but not least, we are part of the Star Wars Underworld podcast network here on the Underworld YouTube channel. We got YouTube memberships, we got super chats, so please do chime in, and whenever you want, whenever you can. The comments down below, they're there. If you comment, we'll get to it when we can in the flow of the conversation. If you super chat us, we'll get to it immediately. We're grateful for any support you can provide to the channel and to the network. Last but not least, the Star Wars Underworld Discord server down below. We got a minty fresh link to get into the Discord server where we're chatting about that trailer, teaser, beer commercial, truck commercial, different marketing campaigns, different things going on in Star Wars and in other franchises as well. And I believe they're going to continue with their Mandalorian Season 1 rewatch. Chris, I saw you were trying to get some game nights going, video games going. So yeah, if you want to play Overwatch with meet some new friends and play Overwatch, link in the description, tag Chris. He'll be down to play with you at some point. When he's free. There you go. But yeah, so those are the plugs. Again, we'll pick those up again at the end. But let's dive right in. Let's dive into this one-shot comic book. It is the Jar Jar one-shot, much awaited, long awaited, written by Ahmed Best and Marc Guggenheim, up by Kieran McCowan and Laura Braga, colors by Mike Attier, and cover by Torin Clark. I forgot to get the letter. Probably VC's Joe Carbagna or VC's somebody. Let me get that up quick. Yes. Sorry about that. Much love to letters. Yes, letters by VC's Joe Carmagna. My apologies there. Let's diving right in. Jar Jar returns, co-written by Jar Jar himself, Ahmed Best. Jar Jar faces the consequences of giving emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine. What pivotal role does Jar Jar play in the formation of the Rebel Alliance? Guest starring favorite Jedi Knight, Kelleran Beq. All right, Chris. So I want to do a bit of a time travel thought experiment with you. Okay. It is 1999 or 2002. you've just come out of the theater, and say 1999, you just come out of the theater, however old you are, and you watched Phantom Menace, and a time traveler from the future comes to you and says, one day you're going to discover that Jar Jar Binks is a hero of the Rebel Alliance. What is your reaction?
The hero of the Rebel Alliance?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that it'd be nice for the character because I've seen the character in the Aftermath series, and it was a pretty dour, pretty kind of depressing kind of moment when we see him later on in life. I would like to think that he has some kind of redemption, So I would like to think that would make sense. Like, it's in a Gungan's heart to always be rebellious. They're always rebellious against the Naboo. That's in their lifeblood, right? Like their lore is all tied into being the underdog, essentially, and whatnot. So, yeah, I would like to see it. I would have liked to seen it, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. I just think just the very thought of it, the possibility of it. I'm sure Ahmed had dreamt of this moment, but just given the whole history with his character, for him to turn out to be a hero, it's such a wonderful bait and switch from not a bait and switch, kind of a turnaround from what everyone used to think about him. And it's such a full circle moment, this comic book. Just giving my overall thoughts first off, as a story, really, really fun and exciting at some moments, really heartfelt in others. I do love, we'll get into a bunch of these things. I love Jar Jar's character as a whole, the way he's more savvy than meets the eye, kind of the way Ahmed and Marc were able to dig in and think, oh, he actually does have the wherewithal to understand what Palpatine is really saying to him. We'll get into that in a bit. Also, the team up with Kelleran Beq, who, of course, is the face character of Ahmed Best in Mandalorian, in that kids game show, among other places, and of course in Marc Guggenheim's Jedi Knights run. And so this book really, I thought, did a really great job of balancing the excitement and even the kind of backdoor espionage with the deep personal story of how these characters driven to heroism already seeing that Palpatine is up to no good, and both Jar Jar and Kelleran are able to catch that, and a surprise character that we'll get to also. So those are my overall thoughts, kind of the opening salvo. What do you think overall of this comic book?
Overall, this is an amazing representation of a comic book that does so well with being pretty much almost a mandatory read, in my personal opinion. These are the comics where I'm reading these going, oh, there's going to be shockwaves on the internet. I'm looking forward to seeing IGN, Games Radar, Bleeding Cool, like all these major trades start reporting like the Star Wars headline news again, finally. Like, I love to see it. I love to see it because it brings more eyes to the Star Wars comics. And unfortunately, frankly, like, it hasn't happened in a long time that we maybe, what has done it the last time, and it's our favorite comic of last year, and it's Legacy of Vader. I've seen a few big headline articles with moments with Luke and different things like that, where it's like, this is why I love comics in general, but I really love them when they could actually pull off amazing things like Mirror Bridger, when they can pull off amazing things like, different communications that will play into the future with the Empire, different things like starting underground railroads, essentially, with communication devices that we can glean from what happens in this comic. Things that'll pay off in the long run, things that will cause revelations. And then just to think of, oh man, these two writers were brilliant with Ahmed Best and Marc Guggenheim with tying together all these disparate storylines that connect in a wonderful way. And it's like, this is a comic book done right, in a sense where it really feels, as a reader, as somebody that's so integrated into the Star Wars lore, getting all these pieces to pull together, and you're like, oh, this makes so much sense. And it's an awesome redemption for Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And it shows you, like you said, Palpatine, even like right after the events of Attack of the Clones, like where he is. Like it's just for a one shot, this is probably one of the better one shots I've ever read with Star Wars universe. So yeah, there you go. I can't say much more higher praise than that.
Yeah. It was, it's really hard to pack all that into one comic book, but I mean, with two authors, two main characters, both of course played by Ahmed Best, but they really nailed it. And speaking of nailing it, with Jar Jar, I don't know about you, but I could hear him when you read a comic book, like for example the way Mike Morrissey gets Wrecker and gets the Bad Batch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who better to write Jar Jar Binks than Ahmed Best, right? Now, of course, Marc Guggenheim definitely, probably. I do want to ask, what the collaboration was like, what was happened there, but I something tells me the dialogue, Jar Jar's dialogue, was Ahmed Best, because of course he brought that accent to the character, for Phantom Menace. I don't quite recall, if George wrote that kind of okeyday, Misa, all that stuff, but it really came to life with Ahmed, and this came to life on the page. Just the way he talks and the way he thinks, like, oh, my map is going kablooey, that kind of thing. All this thing. Thinking, give me the job thinking Misa's going to crash him, that you can hear. I don't want to do the voice, but that was really really well crafted, really well written, surprisingly. And as I mentioned, he's more savvy than meets the eye. So maybe we can go through a bit of the plot here. So Kelleran basically gets Jar Jar to go to this planet to show him that there's this basically slave caste mining coaxium, and they're the market folks, the folks who are marketing the coaxium, or not marketing, selling the coaxium to the Grand Army of the Republic, are able to basically have slaves, because Palpatine, with his emergency powers, is able to say, emergency powers, you can bypass labor laws, no problem. And then they discover something else. We'll get to that part in a bit. But so Jar Jar then goes. Jar Jar and Kelleran, they go to Coruscant. Jar Jar has a meeting with Sheev. Naboo meets Naboo here, a little bit, but and Jar Jar says, "Can you do something with your emergency powers? Why not? I'll be your liaison. I'll be your ombudsperson. Your Gungan on the ground." And Palpatine's like, "Sure, okay." And you know what? We're gonna have a committee, and we're gonna get our best scientists on it. And Jar Jar knows he's full of crap, right? Jar Jar knows. Says, the Chancellor gave Misa the job, thinking Misa's gonna crash it, right? He knows he's gonna fail, or he knows Palpatine thinks he's gonna fail, and he's gonna get this stuck in committee and kind of discredit himself.
Yeah.
And Jar Jar's aware of that, and the reason he's aware of that, I love this character moment of this book. The subtitle for this book is called The Unseen, and Kelleran shows him that these slaves are the unseen, and Jar Jar, not just the Gungans. Yes, the Gungans were unseen, but Jar Jar was the unseen of the unseen.
Yes.
And so he knows how the machine crushes people and ignores people, and what he needs to do in order to make sure that people are seen and are heard. And it's this whole thing about underestimating. You underestimate people. Jar Jar as a character has been underestimated since 1999, in universe and out of universe. And here he is showing up in his comic book being the hero, flying the ship. He's a way better pilot. I mean, maybe he's kind of messing around, but maybe he actually is a better pilot than we think too. Yeah, they're like controlling one joystick with his tongue.
That was great. Yeah, that was one of my notes. Yeah,
yeah, it was so funny. So, so yeah, think about the exploration of Jar Jar's character. What would you think of that?
Yeah, I like the capturing of his characters is done really nicely because he makes those, those choices that he makes in the movies and the Clone Wars. We're like, poor Jar Jar. He makes those stupid mistakes. You just kind of like, yeah, that's Jar Jar for you. But then he actually has a lot of bravery, and in moments where he absolutely needs to show up, he shows up. Like when he's like you said, he's flying the ship, and he's trying to do the right thing in the end of it all. And I'm sure that's what George Lucas was going for, is like this flawed character that is just so gentle in his heart. Like he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He wants the best for everybody. And sometimes he does things too literally, and he's a little gullible. But like what this does is it shows us, first of all, as a senator, we haven't really seen him in a capacity as a full-blown senator. Like, let's get that through our heads right now. Like, Jar Jar Binks is not an assistant. He is literally a freaking senator. Like, he is making galaxy-defining decisions, potentially. I think that's kind of crazy, but that's what happened when George Lucas wrote it. But we get to see a day in a life. We get to see a day in a life. Like we always talk about the Jedi Knights storyline by Marc Guggenheim. He's really good, and I think he was probably in charge of a lot of this part. Really good at defining like the day-to-day of somebody in a galaxy, whether it be the Jedi Knights, what do they do before the Clone Wars? This is what their missions usually invoke. We're getting to see that here with Jar Jar. Like, okay, he's got to go check up on something. He's the delegate. He's got to go speak to these people. He's got to wine and dine them, all that sort of thing. But no, in this case, it's a subterfuge by Kelleran Beq. But yeah, from this journey from start to finish is like a quintessential Jar Jar Binks story. We're at a different point of his life. So I really like to see just what is happening from this perspective and getting to see like a really good hero story by the end of it.
Yeah. With Jar Jar, what was I going to say? I don't know. It was a good time to talk about Kelleran then. if I remember what I was going to say about Jar Jar, we'll get there. But it's a good time to bring up Kelleran. Then he's of course the cool Jedi hero. Again, we saw him in the kids game show, a version of the character. We saw him in all his Jedi finding glory, rescuing Grogu from Order 66, meaning he already knew about Order 66 or knew something was up, something was going to happen. And here he is. We see him rushing in, scaring off this kind of someone who's trying to scam Jar Jar out of all his credits. And I love that moment where he Jar Jar is intimidated. The guy who's got him at blaster point, he runs away. Yeah. And is like, I'm scarier than I thought. Yeah. And he turns and sees Kelleran. Oh, that makes more sense.
That's where I was confused because I was like, why is this guy like, is there something under Jar Jar's shirt? Like I was seriously confused. I'm like, and then I had to scroll down a little bit, like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So that actually makes more sense. So we were kind of carried along that. I especially the Kelleran Jar Jar team up was such a breath of fresh air because Kelleran represents again everything we consider to be cool, a cool character, kind of heroic. Even though he doesn't have a purple lightsaber in this, kind of the not so much darker, edgier kind of Mace Windu, but still able to navigate the shadows when he needs to, and comes on strong, cool and collected. But he sees Jar Jar's worth. He wants Jar Jar to see the implications of his actions. But then when Jar Jar is, this was another great character moment. Jar Jar's blaming himself for the emergency powers, and he said, "No, no, it's Palpatine's fault." And setting up this resistance to Palpatine already during the Clone Wars, and or at the very beginning of the Clone Wars. Like Clone Wars have just begun.
Yeah, it's
And
just begun, basically. Yeah.
and so the thing saying, okay, we're gonna have now what the big kind of ongoing reveal in this comic further on is or the kind of the long term is another thing these miners are finding are this kind of like I forgot the word for it, like cipher crystal or whatever it is, cipher crystal basically, that can create a very secure communications network and very highly secure. I forget what the word is, communications network. And Kelleran says, okay, we can use this during the Clone Wars. That's great. But what if we need to use it later? What if we need to use it after the Clone Wars? What do we do there? And you mentioned her name. The person working on this, we discover, is someone named Mira Bridger, which
wow, I pretty much read that one. Whoa, audibly, yeah. I was like, whoa, I haven't heard that name in 10 years.
Yeah, which was, I mean, that was again another perfect reveal. Just the way,
perfect reveal.
Like okay, the galaxy makes the galaxy a little small, but I don't care. I love it. I love that it says, okay, who do we know had a lot to do with communications and clandestine broadcasts? Well, Ezra was, and Ezra was all about sending out these messages from Lothal. And of course, Ezra's parents were on the run and wanted by the Empire, and they were known by Palpatine. Palpatine knew who they were. We see at the end of Rebels, right? Partly because trying to stop Ezra, but he seems like he had a better idea of who they were. Here's why: they were actively working to subvert him, and I just love the way I think both Ahmed and Marc are able to plot this way back and think through and say, okay, what can we build it? What can we dig in here, build in here, and add in that ties so many things together? And like you said, it's the kind of thing a comic book can do. It's the kind of thing that a one shot. Well, I was surprised. I didn't think a one shot could do this much, but it's a really impressive, really efficient use of comic book real estate to do all this, and it didn't feel rushed. That's the stunning thing, is none of this felt rushed. The moment, so of course the stakes are pressed because Mira has bounty hunters on her, including Aura Singh. We know how deadly she is, and that perfectly leads into this incredibly exciting, they're being fired on. They have to, she's all, I don't like running. Good thing we're flying. Well, then we get fired on. Oh, better run now. And it moves into the action, but the action isn't just for the sake of should throw something exciting here. Yeah, the action definitely makes for a more exciting story, but it also serves the underlying theme of resistance, of burgeoning resistance, and serves the story of, okay, here's Cora Lisa was Kelleran's friend, real contact. She sacrifices her life, maybe, we don't know. Get Mira to go to safety, continue her work. I mean, like, it's setting up. This is why it's a must read. I agree. It's the saga defining almost little moment of these repercussions, right? Because Mira is able to develop this communications network, some links on Coruscant. Who else will be on Coruscant in a bit will be Luth and Rail, and all of them, right? And Saw Gerrera and Mon Mothma and ultimately the Rebel Alliance and everything. So Jar Jar, Jar Jar was always at least an inspiration I think in universe, I remember Brian Young saying, laying out how Jar Jar is an inspiration for Yoda to help Luke learn to trust the Ewoks, right? That was kind of that theory, not the theory, that kind of analysis. I know I'm saying it very quickly, and I still think that's true. I still think Brian was right about that in that this is what George is doing by giving us this character in 1999 to say, okay, Qui-Gon's able to see this character. He's able to show Yoda in the Jedi failure to really failure to escape being Palpatine's victim. They ignored the little guys, the unseen. And so let's actually gather the unseen in a great rebellion against the Empire. That's what we see on Endor. But here also, like you mentioned, the networks, the Underground Railroad,
that's exactly
people.
what I was thinking.
So yeah, I'll let you take that point. What do you think of Mirror Bridger and of the large scale implications of what we see here?
Yeah, talk about large scale implications. Talk about the power of canon, the power of Star Wars as a universe and a platform that could really do well with folding in TV elements to comic book elements to movie elements, the cross pollination of just the meta. I mean, we'll get into that, but just this is great. This is really great. It's a lot of foreshadowing. It's a lot of foreshadowing that's going like, Jar Jar and Kelleran are like, oh, I got a bad feeling about this Palpatine guy. Maybe we should start doing something about this as a backup plan. And I think it's just brilliant because Mirror Bridger is the one to, like you said, create that network of you hear in the Rebels season 1 of like the message and all that. That's how Ezra gets the idea to do the message that like declares like an actual rebellion in a sense, and it all ties back basically to this. And Jar Jar was the one to get Mirror Bridger back to Coruscant because of his flying. So really, he has a lot of the responsibility in that whole idea. So again, the connectivity, everything tying in, and it making sense. And like you said, in a one-shot comic where it doesn't feel forced, and the guy, the moment I think Kelleran or whoever said like, "And what is your name?" I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be somebody we know."
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, that's a really good call. It's a really good call."
Yeah, no, like it's Jar Jar having the sensitivity. It's like, hey, I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to see you as a person. Oh, Mirror Bridger. Even thinking it's Jar Jar's idea to say, okay, we want this fractal crystal network thing, this technology, but it's Jar Jar's idea to say, why don't you, Kelleran, go out and find these unseen folks and create this network of people, right? Now, of course, that network involves a lot of very seen folks, highly visible, including Mon Mothma and Padme and Bail Organa and the coalition of the 1,000 or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. But
Delegation of 2000?
Delegation of 2000, that's what I mean. But it also involves Celestins and Ewoks and Wookiees and other Gungans and Mon Cala, folks that the Empire just ignores or wants to subjugate and exploit. And involves probably, I can see this being even the birth of the path, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking of too. Yep.
So, that, I mean, I think maybe I'm just following on your thought, but Quinlan I'd like to see Quinlan Voss show up in something around this, right? Now we know Quinlan's kind of up to it this time, but later on. So just Jar Jar continuing to be the key to everything, having the wisdom and understanding, because here's the thing, he's the guy who had the sense to say, back when the Trade Federation was invading Naboo, to say, I know where the Gungans are hiding, right? If you go and you look, Padme, if you go and you are humble and go ask for their help, you might be able to convince them. And
Yeah.
he's the one who does that. That's where he gets the one who has that idea. Here he has the idea for Kelleran to tell Kelleran, go around the galaxy, find other unseen folks like me, and together we're going to start building this network of unseen people, because I know what it's like to be unseen. Jar Jar does, and why it's important, and the potential, right? The potential for folks who have been ignored and underestimated to slip through right under the Empire's nose. And again, the end of this, it says, okay, the beginning. Again, I've said this multiple times on this podcast. Marvel, you know what to do. You know what to do. I got to see the story continue somehow, somewhere. It really left me wanting more. I didn't know I wanted this story to continue. I didn't know this was. I mean, I wanted this comic. It was great.
I thought this comic. I didn't read the solicitations for it, but I thought the comic was actually going to take part post Revenge of the Sith. I thought it was literally going to be like, oh, here's the aftermath of the uprising of the Empire, and here's what Jar Jar's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thrown for a loop when they're like, oh, the Clone Wars haven't even really started yet. In a way, it's like this is just like right after the Chancellor meeting, and there's no clone troopers in sight, and they're talking about mining the coaxium, and at that point, it's like, well, we don't really know what it's going to be for. Like, obviously, it's going to be for a fleet of Star Destroyers eventually. But yeah, I mean, I want to talk about Kelleran Beq if you're ready to move on.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I want to talk about how
I touched on him slightly, but yeah, I think there's more to say about him.
Yeah, I want to talk about how much of a badass he is in this comic book. Yeah. Oh my goodness, just like the reveal of him in the beginning, him in the cloak in darkness, just like in the shadows, and he just takes the and then we didn't even mention also this really deep cut character. I think I might have mentioned on my video that he's from Return of the Jedi as a deleted scene, but he's actually from a quick background shot in The Phantom Menace. His name is Rum Slag, and he looks like he's like an astronaut with like a skeleton, like a skull inside the So I was like, oh, cool. I bet you that was Marc Guggenheim's idea. Marc Guggenheim loves to use these like blink and you miss it bounty hunter characters. Like he did the same thing from that character I was getting confused of from Return of the Jedi. That he put in one of the Rebellion one-shot things that were coming out a couple of years ago. So I like it because Kelleran Beq, and they referred to him as the Sabered Hand, which was a nice touch because that was him from the Jedi Temple Trials YouTube short series of like the gymnastics and Hidden Temple Nickelodeon type of show. And so that was cool. But like, this guy, we see him in Mandalorian, season 3, just whipping around the saber, protecting Grogu. We know he's very much involved in the Jedi way of combat proficiency with lightsabers. So you would expect him to kick serious ass, and he is fighting off both not only R. Singh, but this guy as well. Yeah. And I like that whole moment, but it was just, you get to see him just being that good old Jedi, just out there deflecting shot after shot, saving the innocent. It was a really cool hero moment. And then just him, he has some good quips, I will say. Like he has some good humor throughout this in a way. And he just says go to sleep, and he just force pushes R. Singh's head against the bulkhead and knocks her out. And it was good. It was really good stuff by Kelleran Beq with the action. One of my favorite things in here is this image of Kelleran Beq on a swoop bike with Jar Jar hanging behind him. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic here.
Oh yeah,
these two characters played by the same actor intersecting in a canonical story that actually makes sense. Like this is perfect.
And something, I mean, I conceivably be possible in live action, but very difficult to pull off. Whereas here, Kieran McCowan, Laura Braga, and Mike Adier just drawing it, no problem. Of course, Ahmed's writing them both. Yeah, no, I agree. It's we need more of Kelleran. Also, we only got a little bit. He's already made a mark, I'd say. Just even in the Mandalorian, that scene has made a mark. And part of that is just our love for Ahmed in the fandom. But yeah, it was really, really impactful in that scene in Mandalorian, in this comic book, even in the in the Jedi Knights book. Again, he's able to see unseen characters. He's able to know what or be sensitive to what they're going through. So that's the fascinating thing, is that he's tough and he's strong. He's very forward when he needs to be, for the sake of saying, okay, now I'm gonna basically grab you by the arm, Jar Jar, and we're gonna go and see these folks who are enslaved and suffering. So adding layers to the character as well. It makes me want more of him. I agree. So yeah, that again, I would do the last thing I do want to get is, again, what's next? What do we think is coming? Or unless you have more kind of
I have plenty more to say.
Okay, go for it. Other granular things.
Yeah. Oh no, these aren't really granular things here, man.
Okay.
There's like this stuff here with Palpatine.
Yeah.
I want to get into a little bit more.
Should have mentioned that. I should have made that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's dive into that. That's definitely something I think that people want to hear about, because Palpatine, even at this point, like, he is one step ahead. Mm-hmm. And the part that like almost made me make another audible noise is, and I don't know the exact quote here, but he it's after the fact they get back to Coruscant and Jar Jar and him talking. And he's like, oh yeah, I know about Mira Bridger, and I'm like, oh crap, like, she's done. This is how she's in prison. Palpatine knew the whole time she was up to no good, and that's how she'll end up in that Imperial prison and never leave, unfortunately. So there's like that bit of darkness there that I thought was like, this is Palpatine we're talking about. This guy is one step ahead of everybody. He'll act like, oh yeah, that's happening behind the scenes where I don't know about. No, he knows everything, and that's the thing about Palpatine, is he is that corrupt politician, and he's talking about these things, and poor Jar Jar is like trying to get him to like chill a little bit, and Palpatine's just not budging, and it's like, sheesh.
He is also a Sith Lord. So there's that ability for him to know everything, but he even knows that Jar Jar and Kelleran are played by the same actor in this weird meta moment.
I love that moment.
It's
such a cool moment. I was gonna mention that.
I actually laughed out loud when I heard that. I was like, oh yeah, that's funny. But I mean, I'm trying to think, because obviously Palpatine doesn't know that. That's all possible, but to say, I mean, it's that it underlies again what Ahmed brings to both of these characters, and that kind of compassion and courage at the same time. Just looks like different things. Yeah, I agree. Palpatine, definitely. I mean, now that he has the emergency powers, now that the Clone Wars are about to start, or have basically started, that the final piece in his plan is about to happen. He's able to be a little more imperial, shall we say? I mean, even the having slavery for the sake of resource extraction, saying that coaxium is the key to the new I don't know if it says new regime, but this new age that we're in. Yeah, I mean that's what the Empire would later do, including to Lothal, including to so many planets, just Jeddah being exploitative, and grinding people down, because the planet, and that's something, the planet is about to burst.
That is not good.
And he's like,
That is not good because, dude, you go back to the Catalyst novel, and that is all about Gorson Krennic, and he's talking about how like they're having to hide different things with the planets from the public because it's like, oh yeah, like we got this gas problem, and that was this issue, but it was really us. Like they're trying to so hard, the Empire is trying so hard to strip mine the hell out of these planets, then cover it up because it's like, oh, we don't want the dirt on our hands. Like we can't let the people rise up, so we're gonna have to blame it on some crazy weather mishaps and whatnot.
Or I mean, Gorman. Is the big example
right
there. I gotta mention that one. Yeah. So, but that this is the Chancellor of the Republic, and here's a Senator of the Republic or whatnot, like representative at least of the Gungan people. And yeah, they're already starting. He's already starting to be kind of showing his true colors a little more. Again, I love the way Jar Jar just refuses to be naive about it. It's just so upfront and so in our face to say, in the face of folks who think Jar Jar is just this naive little whatever, even the emergency powers thing, right? I mean that was Palpatine and Masamita, right? What's Jar Jar? What are you or I going to do in that situation, right? We're not. I mean, we're not necessarily that dumb, but hopefully I gather we're not that smart either. I don't know. Really engendering to say, yeah, Palpatine starting to get chased. We're getting some of these stories already. I mean, we got the Living Force, those chapters, those interludes, things in E.K. Johnston's Padme novels. And yeah, here we get Palpatine starting to turn the screws on the galaxy. And in a way that, that's the thing. I mean, at the end of the day, with Luke and with Anakin, he overplays his hand. His blatant, a second Death Star is, he's just so arrogant that he thinks that's gonna work. And even with the first Death Star, he's overplayed his hand. The second Death Star, he definitely has, and that's his downfall. Well, here, he's starting to overplay his hand a little bit, and Jar Jar and Kelleran are onto it. And of course, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and Padme are onto it too. But here we see, Jar Jar and Kelleran being in positions to really do something about it. And so that's the thing. I want to see them do something about it because we know they will.
Yeah. Another quick shout out before we talk about the future. One of my old favorite characters from the prequels, a guy we don't get much love. We got a little bit of love from him in the Vader comics from 2020 onward.
Right.
Good old Commander Ricollet.
Ricollet. Yeah.
I'm like, yes, this guy is returned again. I don't know.
Flying in Naboo transport.
Yeah, and the name is the duck. I don't know who.
The Hablibber duck.
The Hablibber,
which is I think
duck.
Named after. As Jar Jar says, this is how I crashed the boss's Hablibber. It's kind of named after that. It's a very Gungan kind of name.
Oh, really?
It seems like it. Yeah, and then there's the line in here. This is while he's piloting it. So this is how I crashed the boss's Hablibber. So it's kind of and it's this funny juxtaposition, right? It's like this elegant Naboo spacecraft called the Hablibber duck because it's Jar Jar's. And I guess they got Ricollet out of retirement, or probably not out of retirement, but to fly the thing. Yeah, it's it was a great shout out again. In this really taking Phantom Menace seriously, and it's a sign of the times, because that's the thing. This comic is probably going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
It's yet again. I know I trumpet this a lot, but prequel is golden age, right? Phantom Menace is
Yeah.
not some silly little prequel off in the corner. It's the start. Every saga has a beginning, and it's the start of George's grand story. It's chapter 1 of 6 or 1 of 9, and here we have, and then Attack of the Clones is chapter 2 of 9, and here we have the direct implications of what we see in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones on what we see in the original trilogy, right? Even what we see in the sequel trilogy a little bit, but mostly the thing that everyone loves, the originals, and the rebels fight against the Empire. Jar Jar is a hero in the history, in the untold history, unseen history of the rebellion. I'm here for it. So that's the question: is are we going to see it? Are we going to get more stories? Again, it says the beginning in this comic. You mentioned you thought that it was going to be set after Return of the Jedi, or after Revenge of the Sith, rather. Maybe that was the original idea, or is this a backdoor pilot for fast forward 3 years later, or a prequel or something? Fast forward 3 years later, Kelleran's just rescued Grogu from the temple, meets up with Jar Jar, something like that, and Mira, something like that. So
That's the thing. It's unfortunately held behind a Mandalorian right now. I don't think they want to touch it. I think they might still have stuff to do with Ahmed Best. Give it another 3 or 4 years, and I think people will revisit this again. But yeah, I did not catch the beginning at the end there. I did not scroll, I guess, far enough down.
Yeah.
That's very telling. Yeah. So I think what we got to tell the people is go out and buy this darn thing. I'm going to go to my comic shop this week and pick it up because I just want to make sure I support it the week that it's out, to support strong sales. So if you guys want more stories like this that are impactful, that really thread the galaxy, you got to either get it digitally this week or, just go to your store and pick it up and pick up a few others while you're at it, because, we're here. We like doing this show every week, but, we want to make sure that there's longevity to this, and we all got to do our part. So,
yeah, I mean, even more than doing a podcast, like getting these great stories that flesh out the universe, like this, like you said, like this one, really does a lot to flesh it out, and it leaves us wanting more. I mean, I've said I've wanted more comics in. I mean, I still want that Obi-Wan Anakin story. Yeah, but man, an ongoing Kelleran Jar Jar buddy cop team up. Not so much buddy cop, but like Kelleran Jar Jar building the basis for the Rebel Alliance from the communication standpoint. With Mask of Fear, we saw from the political standpoint, military standpoint, and that the organizational aspects of the Rebel Alliance. But yeah, here we go. Maybe Rebecca Rowan Horse can sneak something in. Ooh. There we go. Just a one line. Relying on the network that Jar Jar Binks and Jedi Kelleran Beq built, or something in the next novel, or something. Because this really, now we don't have to get it. Like, this already sets up a lot that we can just kind of speculate through. But yeah, it's a cool story, and I can see. I mean, Mira Bridger is already a cool character from the 2 seconds we've gotten. I can see more coming out of that too. So yeah, here we go. Do the right thing, folks. Do the right thing, Marvel. One day, give us more of this story.
Yeah, that's all we could hope for. We got a lot of threads now. We got this Kylo Ren story that's leaving off on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
Well, we'll see about next week how the Star Wars flagship series ends. Will that also say the beginning or something at the end?
I doubt that.
Jedi Knights, that story could go on forever, essentially, with how they formulated that plan.
That's true.
That could go on longer. What else was the other one that came? Oh, there's definitely a definite ending for the Solo comic with the Falcon that came out. So maybe not so much that one. But that's just there's a lot of things. I guess Marvel has its fair share of ideas and things that can continue, or if it would rather start new projects as well. But like I said off the top, like that's the great thing about Star Wars is that even if it is a different comic, you still have these characters floated to sort of like help out that idea of like, oh yeah, this maybe it's not the comic we wanted for a series, but at least we're getting some of the plot line maybe sprinkled in here at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, what I want is a good story.
Yeah.
I know it's a very simple thing. A good story that hasn't been overtread. And that's the thing is, I mean, that's why they're not going to touch Luke and Leia. Right. And that's probably why Alex Guro's comic isn't continuing for now. One of the reasons is because it's Luke and Leia. We've done that, been there, done that. The other reason I still think, and we'll get into this in 2 weeks, I still think because they want to save that story from Jakku to the Mandoverse for when the Mandoverse is over. Just to keep things open, be my guess. But yeah, we'll definitely find that out. So that is next week, although I will be away because of Ash Wednesday. So there are no comics 2 weeks from now. So we're going to bump issue number 10 and look back on this whole run to 2 weeks from now. So check it out. But do pick it up next week. Definitely agree. I second that, Chris. Pick up this Jar Jar one shot. Pick up the variants. If there's any time the shameless variant thing, this is the time. There's a Black History variant. There's a cool connecting variant with I forget which, with I think next week's the Black History Month variant with next week's Star Wars 10. There's a connecting variant there. So yeah, check that out. And there's ones with Kelleran Beq on the cover. So yeah, do go and buy that one because we want to, that's the number that Marvel is going to look at, and so Lucasfilm is going to look at, and maybe even Josh Tomorrow is going to look at. Probably not, but so check that out. For Star Wars 10, what are you looking forward to?
Oh man, there's so much to look forward to. I always find so much palpable excitement for the last issue of a long running series. There's so many places. I mean, my gold standard right now is Legacy of Vader. I think that was perfect way of doing it. It's you conclude a good amount of the story while still teasing us with the future. I hope we get a little tease of maybe where it could go. I mean, he did the same thing. Alex Segura did the same thing with the Battle of Jakku. Right at the end, he gave us. We didn't know those characters were, what's her name?
Reyna Skir.
Yeah, we didn't know it was her. It was cloaked and all. Give us a nice little epilogue scene like that, which, maybe they're not going to pick it up right away, but hey, it shows that there's some story left to tell in the future if they are going to ever return, which they will one day return to this era, but I think they'll stay away. But I want to see the justice of Reyna Skir. I want to see what happens with the Nagai if they join the New Republic, perhaps. I want to see a little bit more from Leia. Maybe we'll see a little cameo of Ben Solo once again. So I think we'll see maybe most of the above there. Yeah.
Even what Luke is kind of hinting towards with his academy. Things like that. The prayer there is for Ash Wednesday. It's also for more comics. It's a bit of a joke, but yeah, do pick that one up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to just ending this well, maybe with a bit of a hint of what this comic was going to be. I think it was going to be the New Republic story, but it's not. We just got the liberation of the guy, and so just end it well. And it really is. I mean, you think of it a 10-issue story. I mean, it really is a 22-issue run. You can include
they're so intertwined. The characters are all the same basically, so might as well call it
like when they do an omnibus, it's going to be those two books.
Yeah.
So check that out.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, when we're going to look back, we're going to go, okay, we know exactly what happened
Yeah.
the hour after Return of the Jedi. And if you want, you could go and read Shattered Empire to
Mhm.
take us all after the Battle of Jakku a year after Empire.
Yep.
Then we don't know exactly what time this was. I'm assuming it's maybe a couple weeks after the Battle of Jakku, maybe a couple months.
Mhm.
And now we're even further out from that Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
storyline. So it's at least nice to get it started
Mhm.
to see where the characters are going to be. But yeah,
Yeah.
give us some teasing for Luke. Like, okay, maybe Luke finds this cool new artifact or gets a tip out on.
Mhm.
Oh, I got to go here now to investigate this thing.
Yeah. So we'll see. Frustrate the heck out of us. There we go, Alex. Frustrate the heck out of us that we're not getting more of this. But yeah, that'll be good. So yeah, we'll be back at it in 2 weeks' time. But I think that does it for this week's Tractor Beam Comics reviews.
Yeah.
Chris, thanks for all your comments, contributions, things I forgot to mention. You know what it's why we do two people do this podcast. It's never just a solo shot, although it can be sometimes, but never just it's a 2-person operation. So yeah, thanks for all your comments. Where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me mainly on Twitter, twitter.com/StarRaptor. Earlier today, I posted a fun little clip from my World of Warcraft. I'm back in it, and I posted this cool little rally of the Goblin people, taking down the dictator of this little Goblin nation. So
There we go.
if you want some laughs at this little scene I composed, go ahead and check that out for more video games and lots of Star Wars takes. Good thing I didn't get roped into a Mandalorian discussion because I could go on and on about that ridiculous trailer. But I'll save that for my show on Sunday,
Yes.
where I'll be back on Outer Rim Transmission. We'll be talking about that very controversial Super Bowl advertisement for a movie that we still don't know much about. That we're getting a beer commercial parody for some reason. But yeah, you can listen to me go on about that.
Yeah.
On Sunday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. We'll be there. Ben, Milton, and I breaking it all down. But yes, another great show. Happy to finally talk about a Star Wars comic for the first time. We'll have to wait another 2 weeks to talk about another one, but that's all right because this is the time we live in. So
it is. There are worse things we could be doing with our time. They're better. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, MNEUG1138. Mainly Instagram. It's also Threads and Blue Sky, but mainly Instagram. I'm also on Twitter at NEUG45, but check me out on Instagram. Also the tractorbeam.biscuit.social. This past Monday on the Ion Cannon podcast, Joel and I talked about what did we talk about? It's been so long ago. We talked about something political science. Yeah, why am I blanking on what we talked about? Sheesh. Anyway, we talked about politics is what we did. And then this coming Monday, we're talking about our most memorable opening chapters of novels in Star Wars. So, because I just started, I'm actually now halfway through Acolyte Wayseeker, and that has a bonkers first chapter. First person for Nestor Rowe. That's all I'll say there. So, so check that out right here, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Underworld YouTube channel and Facebook and wherever you get your Twitch and wherever you get your podcasts. So it's also on Spotify and Apple, Ion Cannon Podcast. And then, in 2 weeks, we will be right back at it with Star Wars number 10. Pick up this Jar Jar one shot.
Yeah, pick it up.
Pick up the Jar Jar one shot from your local comic book shop. Pick up Star Wars number 10 from your local comic book shop. And then we will see you in 2 weeks. But until then, happy reading.